We have been through a lot as florists. Do y'all remember last March? Will you ever forget it? Were we open, were we closed? We didn't really actually know, right? Some of us were allowed to keep going, some of us had to shut down, some of us found loopholes to be able to keep going, but this industry has gone through so much. Some of it has been very positive for a lot of businesses. Some of it has been devastating. What we found out, and what the world found out, is that everyone needs and wants flowers. And the florists are here to provide those. The difference is now that we have to find where we fit in giving that gift. Are we going to keep going down the same path that we have for decades and decades and decades? Or are we going to find a different path? Because this is the time and your excuse to pivot. How many times have we heard that word, pivot? We have been given the most amazing opportunities to change the way we have been doing business forever. So many times, how many times have you heard this? That's the way we've always done it. I've always done it that way and it works and I'm going to keep going that way. It doesn't work like that anymore. We have to change how we have thought about our businesses before. Yes, it was fun. It was enjoyable. But as prices increase and supplies get more scarce, we have got to figure out how to thrive and survive and do it profitably. Now, you're going to see some amazing, amazing designs today. Those designers back there have been working around the clock to get these amazing, beautiful pieces of work. And every time one of those pieces come out on stage, I want you to look at it and say, I can sell that. I can figure out how to sell that to my customer. Because so many times we look at something and say, I could never sell that. There's no way that would ever sell in my area. There's no way that could sell in my shop. And let me tell you, the flower shop 3 blocks down from me couldn't sell any of the things that I have sold. But guess what? They don't have it in their shop. So how can you sell something that you don't have in your shop? How many of y'all have ever sold purple elephants in your shop? No one? So how could you sit there and say that I would never be able to sell a purple elephant if I never had it on display, I never had it on my website, I was never advertising it on Instagram? So you might see purple elephants come out today, and you might see something that is absolutely so easy to do and to resell. But you cannot knock anything until you've tried. How many times have we grown up as children and your parents said, don't knock it until you tried? And so many times, those things, those statements come from our inner self and our lack of confidence in ourself. We are not only beautiful people that sell creativity and artistry that should be put on a pedestal of creativity along with artists all around the world, but we should value our time. I don't sell flowers, I sell experiences. I sell artistry, and it's expensive in my shop. I am expensive, and I don't apologize for that. I make sure that I have enough to support my family, and let me tell you a little bit about my family. I've been out of AIFD for the last couple years just because I've been a little busy. And I have 4 children. In the last 3 years, I've had 2. So I have a 15-year-old, 11-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. And I have a few businesses. And more than anything, I have a husband who's a lot of maintenance as well. He does work in the shop with me, so that is a real challenge for any married couple. But the goal of my shop is to get in, get out. We got to get it done. We got to make money, because you know what? I got 4 mouths to feed, actually 6 total when I come home at night, and it's got to be profitable. Stop competing with the grocery stores. Stop competing with somebody down the road who does it cheaper. There will always be somebody who does it cheaper. If you don't value yourself, your product, and your artistry, neither will your customer. Your customer will never value you if you don't value your artistry. Now, that does not mean that you get a calculator out and you add down to the 2 cents that you've got down in there and sell it for 3 cents more. What are you worth? My program today is featuring the Floral Greens Farmers of Florida, Accent Decor, and Floricentric. I have been given the most amazing product, and every bit of it can be sold in a retail flower shop. Every single one of them. My programs are typically about what sells easily in a flower shop. I'm not saying that everything else won't be sold. I just want you to keep an open mind throughout the day, because it is about stepping it up and moving to the next level. You'll never be able to sell it if you don't show it. And I can confirm that everything you'll see in my program has sold before. And I can tell you price points, I can tell you how it's sold, I can tell you all the tips you want to ask. So, we're going to get started. But one thing I want to show you and tell you is I had, I think, 4 boxes of greenery, and I think it was about 61 floral items. I did not use all the flowers, but I'm going to show you how I used it and how it works in my shop. Now, one of the best things that I ever did was take control of my own website so that I can post arrangements on my website. With the Floral Greens Farmers of Florida, I have worked for them for about 3 years now, and they have a program that offers florists web images. In this program, they send us their greenery, we make arrangements with their greenery, photograph it, and then give it back with all the image collection so that florists can use this image collection on their website. It is a phenomenal price point, and you've got the flyers on your desk or on your table or chair, whatever. So you have some beautiful opportunities to really showcase a lot of arrangements that sell very well. So a lot of these I've started with a couple different types of greenery, and you can identify that all of these are grown in Florida. The Floral Greens Farmers of Florida is a cooperative of about 55 shippers and growers in the state of Florida. What they have done is, it's like tons of family farmers. There is a lot of shippers. Some of them grow one product, some of them grow another. They have a cooperative that comes together to promote their greenery. And I'm telling you, before I started working for them, I never knew half of this actually was available or grew anywhere. So it's beautiful. So I was really kind of forced to use this greenery because I really didn't know exactly what to do. So I'm just trying to figure out how to use it to be able to photograph it, right? But then my customers did the most amazing thing. They come in and say, I want that greenery. I want this. Can you make it look like that, like this, like your Instagram picture, your website with the greenery like that? I have more customers that call and say, I love your use of greenery. It's trending. It's huge. Greenery is the biggest thing. And so many times when we have these really big budgets, we have no greenery in arrangements at all, or it's secondary. But when I started refocusing the way I looked at it and making a primary design, actually making an arrangement with greenery first and then popping the flowers in, it made it easier to substitute. And it's getting worse. We're going to have to substitute a lot. But when you make it an arrangement with the style and the feel and the movement of all of that greenery, it's so much easier to pop in the same color scheme or even to pop in a different type of flower. So these are more upright arrangements. Accent decor containers, which are really beautiful. This peachy orange color scheme is very popular right now. So these are very quick and easy to make. They give you that beautiful value of making the stems longer and taller, and people really see artistry in things like this. I do several price points, so I start with a standard, a deluxe, and a premium. Most all of our arrangements are either in clear glass vase or an accent decor container. So it's really easy for me to substitute with another valuable container. So with these, I have very little foam towards the bottom of it, and then I've kind of clustered all of those flowers and grouped them together. I think most people love roses, but right now it's kind of hard to find, right? When you have a mixture of things like this, it's really easy to substitute even like peonies or dahlias or scabiosa or a ranunculus or something that you can pop in that different color scheme. Let's move these off and come out with a couple more. And while they're bringing them out, I'm going to talk about this bunny tail, like the dried product that's really popular right now. I think I used a half a bunch of bunny tail from Canoe Nielsen in all of these arrangements. These are more accent decor containers, and you can see just how little this one is, but given all of that aspidistra, that height to it, gives you great value. One of the things that I love about aspidistra, and I keep buckets and buckets of aspidistra in my cooler, literally, it just won't die. It doesn't. You can have it for weeks, months. It's a cast iron plant. It really doesn't need a lot. We might recut the stems once a month, change the water out every week, but it really does help a lot to have that for all of those quick need fix things. So this one you can see the aspidistra is looped. It creates air between the roses. And this is just a hand tied. And you can see the contrast between those different tones of peaches and corals along with the aspidistra. Looks really nice with this type of container. This one with the aspidistra, this is glue dashed, one on top of the other to kind of create this sheltering effect. And then I took this aspidistra and bent it backwards. So it's a difference. If you take an aspidistra and it's like this and you bend it that way, you still have the curve. If you take the aspidistra and bend it backwards, then you get this more sharper line. I know a lot of times beginner designers will not realize that aspidistra or whaleback or anything like flax, bending it backwards gives you that really clean, sharp edge. They always want to bend it forward. This is actually pieces off of the design table. It's got 1 lily stem, 3 aspidistra, a piece of podocarpus, and a couple carnations and greenery. But to sell that on your website at a really small price point is something that people really could kind of capture that lower price point where you're trying to get those customers that just might not spend as much as you want. Same thing with these. Now, we all know that the accent decor containers are a much more valuable container. There's a lot more value in them because they're heavier, they're nicer quality. With a higher quality container, sometimes we need to lower the style of the arrangement or the price point of the materials that are going into it to make it more comfortable for our customers to be able to get a nice container along with those flowers. So this one again is just a few pieces of green pittosporum, which I am using more now dark green pittosporum than I am variegated. I think there's a purpose for everything, and you have to select your greenery depending on the color scheme you're going to work within that arrangement. It's really important. Just because you have boxes and boxes of variegated pittosporum in your cooler doesn't mean that that's the one you should use. You really should stock a lot of different types of greens. If I were to use variegated aspidistra with this or variegated pittosporum with that, you would not see those flowers as much as you do now. One of the tips that I do, because we have to photograph so many arrangements, so now it has really trained my eye to know what contrast work and what doesn't, what things are not necessary and what are. But I really encourage you, even if you're not photographing each one of those arrangements, take your cell phone out, hold it up to the arrangement, and then you really get to see what you need to. It's one of the best tricks. My mom used to tell me when I'm making a bridal bouquet, go stand in the mirror. Because you stand in the mirror and it reverses what your eye is putting in that place. So this is really valuable information when you're making an arrangement and you have to photograph it and send it to the customer, because that's what we have to do now. It's become a norm. So this helps with your arrangements when you have to photograph them really quickly and get them on up there to the customer. Tulips. Everybody sells tulips in a vase. Everybody, every flower shop. What are you going to do differently to upgrade your tulips or to make them look different than everybody else that sells them? One of the things that I like to do is mix other types of flowers in there. These are beautiful red ranunculus, and then also using the mixed foliages. So that's got the weeping podocarpus, it's got the tree fern, the olive, which is really, really nice. Florida olive has really beautiful leaves that kind of cluster together. By bending it over, you can get this beautiful cascade effect using the weeping podocarpus, and then of course adding in that tree fern. We've given a lot of greenery some bad raps. It is not the greenery's fault. It is our fault. We've used it in some pretty bad ways. Leatherleaf, we have abused leatherleaf. I think some of the people really want to use leatherleaf to build the bridge, and really it's not the right greenery to build a bridge off of leatherleaf. It breaks. So many times we start out with our arrangements and we put so much leatherleaf, but by the time we get done, half of it's underwater and it's broken and tons of little pieces are actually in the bottom of the vase. So I want to encourage you to look at greenery in a different way. Your stronger greens are your pittosporum, podocarpus, aspidistra. There's weeping podocarpus, anything that's got a woodier stem is actually stronger to build your armature inside of your vase and then place your stems on top of that. Use your leather leaf as an accent green because it's really beautiful. And our generation, my generation, and my generation younger than me, for instance, my 15-year-old daughter, she's like, I love that flower. It's a carnation, honey. Oh, it's so beautiful. Oh, I love this little wispy thing like that. That's tree fern. Oh, well, why don't you use more of that? You know what? It's our minds that prevent us from going further. So here, look at how beautiful and dainty tree fern is. And how many times do we use it in just massive bunches of everything and then never really showcase it? So look at it mixed with different types of flowers, not our go-to, not our mums, our carnations, our leatherleaf and tree fern. Look at it mixed in with dried product and astilbe. I use tons of astilbe in my shop. I love astilbe. And just look how beautiful all of these containers are and how the light just passes through them. Would this not be beautiful on your website? Why don't we put this on our website? Why don't we have standard, deluxe, premium, right? Who says you have to have 3 different size containers? These are all opportunities as retail florists that we need to embrace right now. We have the excuse to change. We don't have to do it the same way we've always done it. People are expecting us to change. They come in, they're like, I'm so sorry you had to go through COVID. I was like, my sales are up 62%. Yes, I know, it's sad that we had to go through COVID. But we need to embrace the opportunity. They still want those flowers, and now they realize they want them. Let me talk about this one really quick. We sell more of that style, that color scheme, with that greenery and those flowers than any other item. Customers like a unique container. They really do. This has got 1 hydrangea in it, 4 standard roses, 2 garden roses, and 1 spray rose. A few pieces of plumosa and a couple of bunny tails. Now, the one on my website does not have the bunny tail, but it does have a similar arrangement. It's called Olivia Pearl, and it is the most fast-selling, quickest making arrangement because I am about quick. I got 4 kids whining all the time. I need to be quick. I need to get it in and get it out because it's profit. If we don't get it in and get it out, we're losing that profit. What is your profit margin jump between a $35 arrangement and a $125 arrangement? If you don't offer your best, they'll never know you can do it. And how dare you take that choice away from them? They have a gift with an emotion behind it, and you are judging their pocketbook based on your own. Because florists suffer. We are not the most profitable business in the world, but that doesn't mean we always have to do everything the exact same way we've done it for generations after generations. We actually can be profitable, and we can sell our artistry and not make an excuse for ourselves. It is time that we stand up and actually value our time, our quality, and our product. Because you know what? If I had a white rose in my shop right now, I would sell it for $9, $10 a piece. And guess what I found out? At one time, I was like, I'm sorry, I can't, the roses prices are going up, the rose prices are going up. They're like, okay, that's fine. Well, why am I making this excuse for them? And as the prices jump up, we have to move our prices up, and it's still selling. We're not denying the people that can't afford the cheaper arrangements. We're just offering our best to everyone. And we're making our decisions based on what is going to be beautiful in our reputation with our artistry. Thank you. These are the $59, $69, $79 arrangements on the website. Very easy, very quick. This arrangement right here, beautiful variegated ligustrum, olive, monstera, variegated pit. Again, I'm choosing that color scheme because I want that white to repeat into the greenery, so I'm going to repeat that a little bit. I want the white roses to repeat, so I have that beautiful color combination that kind of brings in that combination with the container, a little bit of white down here. Repeat that color again. The movement of this arrangement has to be dynamic. You cannot do this where everything is the same level. It is like bam in the middle and spread it out. And that's how you have to look at all of your arrangements. If you want that dynamic energy in there, figure out what your focal point is and then just spread it out. Go crazy. Don't be safe. So many times we're just getting it a little shorter, a little bit shorter, a little bit shorter. There's nothing spectacular. Go a couple inches longer. Make it spectacular. There is no foam in this. This is greenery that is woven together and it holds in place. I like using the mixture of dainty foliages along with the flat, smooth foliages. Right here, this is another accent decor container. Look at the tree fern that is spread out. This is making it really beautiful. This one as well. These can be combinations for weddings or events. Centerpieces, let's talk about centerpieces. Your arrangements should be able to see over it or under it. But it is the #1 insult to a florist to have a centerpiece removed from the table because they cannot see over it. Quick tip, put your elbow on the table, put your hand in the air, and it should be no taller than your wrist. And if you feel like you're like me, a little bit on the short side, then I sit in every table. When I deliver that centerpiece, I go around like this and sit in all the chairs. I look ridiculous. But I want to make sure that those guests can enjoy their event and they can see over that arrangement. And anything that's going to cascade over too far, I snip it or cut it out or make sure that you have a conversation going across the table. This arrangement I would not do as a centerpiece, but I want to show you just how beautiful and how much value you have in here. And we got some amazing products. So Floricentric sponsored all the flowers in this. If you can see the value in these arrangements, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 roses, 2 spray roses, the rest is greenery. I have placed the mini callas on top of here, not on purpose, it was an accident. I just wanted to remind myself that I needed to talk to you about mini callas, but I actually think it's pretty cool. So if you wanted to do that, because mini callas do not have to have water, then something crisscrossed over the top of it would really elevate it a little bit more. But sometimes we don't have the budget for that. To get it a little bit less, we'll just remove those callas. Now, I want to show you something with callas. And I want you to look at this arrangement, specifically that all of the callas are working with the focal. The focal point right here, you can see, right? Everybody see the focal point? You see how all the greenery does this. The movement and the line of the greenery is out. The last thing that I want to do is put a calla in there like this. With callas, if they happen to be the wrong movement or shape, then you can massage them backwards. So let me see if I can find one. Here's a good example. See, the point is here, and then it's moved. So all I'm going to do is massage one side of it. This is an old trick. To where the point is now this way. Because when I go to put that in the arrangement, I want it to extend that visual line all the way to the point of the tip of the calla. I've mixed in a lot of different greenery in here. Before I even put the flowers in, it looked beautiful. It had the shape, it had the style, it had the trend. This is what people want. And then I pop in a few flowers. I made sure to mix in the variegated. So I've got the Kunti, Coccolus, the Podocarpus, regular Podocarpus, Weeping Podocarpus. One of the greens that I've used is this Arborvitae. The Arborvitae I use year-round in my shop. So who gave it the name Christmas greens? The florist. We basically sat there and shot ourselves in the foot because we gave it a name that made it just seasonal, but it's one of the longest lasting greenery. But it can look coastal, it can look boho, it could look anything you want it to be, deciding on the flowers. You have to decide the flowers that go with that greenery. Now, if I did red roses with this and white hydrangea, yes, it's going to look like Christmas greens. But mixing in it with a beautiful color scheme of these oranges and whites and creams, and then also mixing it with roses, you have a completely different outlook of that greenery. And that goes for leatherleaf and tree fern and pittosporum and everything else that we use consistently. So here's that. Moving into the next color scheme, this is very, very popular. The blue and white, I cannot keep it in stock. It is always something that people love. It's modern, contemporary. People love blue. We don't have a lot of blue flowers. Let's go with blue containers. Let's go with what people want. And I'll tell you the best way to figure out what your customers want is to go on Instagram. So Floral Greens Farmers of Florida, Accent Decor, and I'm pretty sure Floricentric, I'm not sure, but I think Floricentric have Instagram accounts. I want you to go and follow them. And I don't mind if you do it right now. Floral Greens Farmers of Florida. It is a mouthful. But I really want y'all to really see all the effort these companies put into giving you inspiration on a daily basis. If you don't know about them, it is your own fault because you're not looking at them. Now, we're businesses, we want customers to follow us. Why would you not follow the sponsors that are sponsoring this entire program? So you should go down that list and go, Floral Greens Farmers of Florida, look at it. Good, good, thank you. Accent Decor, look at that. See what they want you to see because you're getting inspiration every single day. Blue and white. It was a very popular thing. It is very popular this year. It will never go out of style. Blue is always a very popular thing. If you want an arrangement to sell, you put blue in it. Blue and yellow is also popular as well. But the way I want you to think is, here's a small arrangement standard, here's a deluxe version, and here's your premium version. Why not? Why does it have to be add 2 roses, add 3 roses, add 4 roses? Why can't it be different containers? Why can't it be different types of flowers? We need to change the way we have always done business. Because guess what? The grocery stores aren't selling this. This easily could be your dozen roses. Why not? Why can't you sell this for a dozen roses? I'll tell you why not. You have never offered it, and it's not on your website, and it's not on your Instagram page. So until you put it out there, you can't say that will never sell because you never had the purple elephant in your shop. Here is my version of a bud vase that Ralph did for me. Bud vases do not have to be a clear, whatever vase. 1 piece of gypsophilia, 3 pieces of leatherleaf, and 2 roses. And they must be freedoms. How many of those customers call you and say, I need 2 yards of acetate ribbon, 1 glass bud vase has to be clear, and it has to have those stripes going down the side, at least 1 piece, maybe 1.5 pieces of gypsophilia, and let me have 2 50 centimeter, maybe 60 centimeter red freedom roses, and don't forget the leatherleaf, turn 1 backwards, turn 1 forward, and put the other one on the side. Oh, and by the way, can you put some more of that leatherleaf like really far down in the vase? It's a little extra, but I'll do it for you. How many people do that? So why in the world do we go like, we're doing all this beautiful creative stuff, and then all of a sudden we get to the bud vase and we're like, that's the way we do it. Think differently. Think about it. And the way you want to think about is what your customers want. You actually go on Instagram and see what they're posting and see what these new generation florists are posting. And you say, look, she's got 3,000 likes on that page. Maybe I should do something like that. Because we'll be the first ones to complain and say, you know what, COVID shut me down and I couldn't do anything about it. As you can see with this version of roses, I have this beautiful bright green arborvitae. The detail in it is really great and lacy. And then I've used that smoothness of the Aurelia. I never knew Aurelia and Monstera come in several different sizes, so you can order wee Monstera, which is about the size of your hand. You can use small, that's a little bit bigger than like 2 hands. You can use medium, large, and extra large. Never knew that. And it grows right in my backyard. So until I started looking and doing it and them sending me stuff, I had no clue any of this existed. Again, a couple little bud vases, a really unique container. I wanted to show you this, another little bud vase. This arrangement came in this vase. Look how small that opening is. How many of y'all go on the websites or look at stuff and say, ooh, that's only like 2.5, 3 inches. I can't put a whole bunch of stuff in there. Do you need a whole bunch of stuff? I mean, I think I got quite a bit in the same container. So again, has lots of water. My gypsophilia replacement is yellow oncidium orchids. Why not? It's time to change. Another little bud vase, 3 roses, an oncidium orchid. I would much rather receive this than the leather leaf turned backwards in a bud vase. 2 yards of acetate ribbon, 1.5 stems of gypsophilia, a little bit more leather leaf shoved in the bottom of the vase. I want this. These are very hard to photograph, and that's how it's become kind of in my shop, where every time I go to make something, I'm like, ooh, how's it look on camera? Because now our mindsets have changed, right? First of all, we have something on our website. People call and say it never looks like the picture. So let's make it and put it on the website, and it's actually legit. Every arrangement that I make for the Floral Greens Farmers of Florida image collection is an actual arrangement in water, no glued, no wired, no taped, no Photoshop, it is an actual arrangement, and you can actually reproduce the arrangement. There is no 1.5 1/4 stem of Alstroemeria bloom here and here and here and here. I actually used the retail value of what I bought and priced it accordingly. So again, I encourage you to look at that collection and see if it's something that you like. It does feature the accent decor containers and a lot of beautiful greenery. But as I know, like, these are beautiful and they're unique, and it's creating a lot of value with that, I've used leather leaf in a completely different way than we typically do. This is a fern. Take it out of your mind that it is a vase filler. It is a fern. It is a beautiful fern. And as we do with all flowers, we should really respect that. Keep in mind, you have to have a front and a back to every arrangement. We're in the age of photography. Everybody is a photographer. And if they're not, they'll buy a camera tomorrow and they become a photographer. Just like we know everybody is a florist, right? Everyone is a florist or interior designer. And if they're not, they become a real estate agent. You can tell what kind of clientele I have. Again, using the aspidistra, this is just a couple glue dashes. Hopefully those will still stay around for a little bit longer. If not, I'm gonna go back to the Elmer's glue. I don't know what we're gonna do, but this is kind of cool and different. I think we could also do it with wire if you run out of glue dashes. Who knows what we're gonna have in the future. But this just gives you a little bit of interest out to the side. Again, a really cool, unique container. Look at the way the olive is moving. Nothing is conflicting. It's not doing anything. This is going up, these are going out. These can bend down because they're very easy to manage and manipulate. I've got a 1/2 stem of Queen Anne's lace and a 1/2 stem of lily. And look at the value that has created. Now, I could easily sell this for $100 or more because it has value. Because I had the dimensions on my website, and it has value. Now, if I look at this and I say, you know what? I think I could actually sell that for $125, but I only have $100 in it. Why not surprise your customer and put in a couple more roses in there? And guess what that gets? A fabulous review. And you know we're all about those reviews. We need them. We want them. We hate them at the same time. But we need to exceed their expectations. Michael Whaley had actually made this arrangement, and he is not feeling well, but we do miss him and hope he's feeling better soon. And again, just featuring that aspidistra, look how different and unique that is. Again, aspidistra is really inexpensive, but look at the value that that creates by, featuring that monstera, the long belt of Ireland, and keeping that more of that very neutral color scheme. I love these containers because they just can go with anything, any color scheme. This one right here is something that I have done quite frequently in our own shop, and this is just one stem of aspidistra. And basically, I'm gonna put this one out. What I did was take my fingernail and just split it over and over and over, and then just peel these back and then knot them or pierce them or whatever you need to do. And because the cast iron plant, the aspidistra, does not need a lot of water, it is really easy to put it in there and have it dry and curl, or you can fold it backwards, or you can cover up the oasis, just like we have. The floral foam is all covered with this aspidistra, which is a really inexpensive way to just hide your mechanics. Get it right off the bat. Every time I've ever done a competition or tested or something like that, the quickest thing to think about is hide the mechanics. Figure it out, hide the mechanics. Then from there, design your arrangement. Because sometimes we think about that too late, and then we use so much extra product covering up the foam and the mechanics that we have ruined our arrangements. Look at the value this has. Again, very little product, very little. Nowadays, we have got to figure out what else to sell besides massive amounts of flowers, because we can't get massive amount of flowers right now. It is very difficult. Our economic situations have always groomed our designs. When we can't get hydrangea, you don't see hydrangea. When you can't get white roses, you don't see white roses. Back when my mom was a florist, when she was younger, I asked her, I said, why did y'all always use just mums and carnations, mums and carnations? She goes, well, that's all we really could get. Mums, carnations, roses, baby's breath. Because our technology has forced us to be able to get, or allowed us to be able to get more things from longer distances, and our technology has grown. That is a situational decision that was made because of what's available. So here we have more of a clustering style arrangement where I've clustered all of this greenery together. The line of the stalk is going up and down, the matiola. Then I have the roses. Gosh, those are like gold. They might as well be dipped in gold, right? White roses right now. Then I have one hydrangea based. Now look at what I purposely have done. I took the ligustrum, and turned it backwards. Because so many times we turn it this way or that way. I also make sure that every stem that I select fits my design. If I have a limited amount of supply and the stem does not fit the style of arrangement that I'm making, I change my design. I don't keep going in the same direction. If you get monstera and they're all facing one way and you really need the line to go that way, I either flip it or I don't use that. When we're testing, when we're doing our designs, when we're making our arrangements, when you look at that arrangement through the camera, it should be very clean which direction everything is going. So even with my designers at the shop, I'll say, that's the wrong stem. Go back and see if there's another stem. See which way that head is facing. Play with it. If we have matiola where all the florets are on one side, go find another one that's on the other side, because you need that line to work with your design. That's how you step it up a notch. And now, more than ever, that's how your customer reposts your arrangement, and it looks very clean and well put together. So we are in the age of the camera. We have to design for the camera. This arrangement right here, same thing, that beautiful Florida olive that comes out to the side. Hydrangea, a couple roses, Queen Anne's lace, variegated ligustrum, the Kunti, green pit. If y'all have any questions about the types of varieties or greenery that are in the arrangement, you're welcome to ask me at another time after the show. Or this one, I think this will be live later on as well. That arrangement that he just moved had the looped aspidistra, one of my favorite techniques. You've seen it in a lot of things because it creates air from between leaf and leaf. When you loop the aspidistra back around and pierce it and then place it within the arrangement, you use less product because it creates space between the greenery. Again, I don't know what the retail value of this, but oh my goodness, this thing is very heavy. So when I go to pick it up, I think, oh my gosh, this is expensive, right? But look how simple and clean. This is one lily stem. And then just clustering all of that greenery together, like the Kunti and the Florida olive, one monstera leaf. It's simple, it's inexpensive, it's easily an accent. It doesn't always have to be a show-stopping arrangement that goes out of your shop. A lot of people, and especially interior designers, and I work with a lot of interior designers, they want something that accents their own work. We have to start thinking with color schemes and styles of how it looks fabulous in someone's home. When we ask people what they would like to we ask them, do you know what you would like to send, or did you want to hear some suggestions? Most people ask us, what do you recommend? And we go back to, what are the colors of their home? For so long, we have asked, what are their favorite colors? And sometimes those colors are not achievable. But when you present them an arrangement that looks fabulous in their house, do you know what that does? They continue to buy and refill that container. And they continue to buy and restock their home with flowers. Because we are thinking about the setting. We do this when we think about weddings, but why don't we do it when we do it for retail arrangements? So every time I go to send out an arrangement, I want it to be beautiful within the setting in the home, not just that person's favorite flower. So here are two samples of the same size vase with the monstera turned backwards. This is just three, I think this is large monstera, one phalaenopsis orchid. I use a lot of phalaenopsis orchids because I find a way that I can use my favorite flower. Garden roses, phalaenopsis orchids, ranunculus, anemones, all of those peonies, things that are outrageously expensive, I will find a way to use those because they get the most attention from my customers. And they see it on Instagram over and over and over again and can't figure out why we don't offer it on our websites. We don't offer it, and I hear people all the time, we can't sell those, they're too expensive. Well, I'm not telling you to put a dozen of every single one of those in every arrangement, but just one stem, you can really add a lot of value and interest because guess what? The other 10 flower shops in your town don't have those on their website. So change the way you do business. It's time to pivot. This arrangement is one of the urns. It's very heavy. I would recommend that it's a rental item. It doesn't always have to be. You might have the perfect client that would want to buy that. Funny story. Last October, we did a wedding, and the bride was the pickiest bride I've ever had, actually. And we had these beautiful tall glass vases in this big round arrangement, and but she liked all of the different greenery. She picked out and selected all the different roses. The hydrangea, she really got down to the base, like really on my last nerve. But you know what? I did it. I don't know why, but I was just like, yes, okay, that's fine. If you don't want these roses, I'll get this variety, whatever. And I never really do that. I always sell a color scheme. I never get into varieties at all. If she did that today, it'd be a different story. So she does this, and you know what? But she's super happy about it, and maybe that's why I'm doing it, because she's just super nice and super happy. And she picks out these varieties. I adjust her sample in the shop, and the arrangement I added $20 more to it, and I said, okay, now you're at $30 more. And she's like, okay, but one more. And I did one more, and I sat there and I thought, wow, she's got like 10 of these things. That just went up a lot just because I did it in front of her in the shop and made the sample. That's pretty nice. So I did it a year ago. She loved it so much because she felt like she was a part of it that her husband called and ordered the same thing for their 1-year anniversary this year. Fabulous. You know what the difference was? I rented the containers to them. He had to buy it this time around. And that was worth every minute that I sat there and revised that arrangement. So every time we feel a little negative and we want to just go on Facebook and complain about all our customers, let's think about it, how wonderful they really can be. And instead of talking about how picky they are, maybe we look at it as a real, true, beautiful challenge for us to make a customer happy, to get a great review, and to do something that is not typical, and then you have a customer for life. This arrangement set is something that I would recommend a lot of the greenery pieces, but a lot of like sympathy arrangements, especially for a man. You want to have that color pop out and have like clusters, especially with a lot of people that want the smaller arrangements. So this was designed in a sympathy collection with that color scheme. You can see like the mini callas, everything's got more of a front to it, which is great for funeral. The kale is one of our best-selling flowers. A lot of people love it, a lot of people hate it. The moon carnes is one of the carnations that I sell a lot of. And again, those mini callas, clustering them on each side, make a beautiful sweep to these. Ralph had made these early this morning. Funny thing, Accent Decor, when I ordered the containers that I wanted, I was ordering one of this, one of that, and I was thinking that they were gonna send me like one vase, but they sent me one case of vases. So I thought the opportunity to go ahead and just get those all done. So we produced quite a bit of arrangements. And each one of these are retail arrangements that can easily be sold in your shop. You can easily sell these in your shop. And thank you so much for Accent Decor for sending me these containers, because as we all know, it's very difficult for right now for them to fulfill these containers. And God bless them. You know, even with as much trouble and sacrifices they've had to make with this whole distribution issue, they still are sponsoring our products and our shows. That is a vendor we need to stick by. This is a casket piece, and I've done it a little bit differently than most casket pieces. I know everybody does their caskets a little bit differently, but I like to start out with the base of my casket pieces using the same type of greenery, clustering them together, because it makes a beautiful statement when you have all one type together. Now, what I've done is created the line with this monstera all the way down through. And again, I've turned one back to give it a little bit more height, because typically you do view it from the front. You can go over to a full, you know, nowadays there's a lot that they close the lid and then they slide it over to finish it out. I do use flowers that are not typically funeral flowers. I actually try my hardest to remove the reputation that we have given so much. We have given every flower a reputation. This is a funeral flower, this is a Christmas greenery, this is, you know, a filler, this is a high end, this is a low end. Why do we do that to ourselves? So here you can see that I've used kale. There's some beautiful roses, scabiosa. I mean, when's the last time you used scabiosa in a funeral and a casket piece, right? It's a premium flower, but when you have very small amounts of it, you really have great texture. And you have something unique, and somebody can walk up to it and really enjoy it while they're mourning their loved one. Again, using all of that greenery, clustering it together, I like to use that greenery as my style first, and then go back and cover up the mechanics. Now, Ralph and I were talking about this, and just what you're doing now, you're seeing it from a different perspective than what we designed it, right? So every time I make an arrangement, I think about it and I'm like, well, if I was the child where would I see this arrangement? So I get on the child's level and really look at it from this view. When I am looking at it from everybody else, like normal height people, I look here, and then I look at it from a tall person's point of view up here. And that's how we should design every one of our arrangements. We should get down like this, because this is how the photographer is going to capture your arrangement. But the customer is going to capture it like this on top of it. So it won't look the same unless you actually make sure that all of your flowers go down all the way around and back. Here is one of your COVID pivots. Everybody know how popular angel wings have become? Everybody know that it's really hard to get those angel wings? This is a closed heart, which has now become hard to get. And it is made with leather leaf, all leather leaf. This is an arrangement that does very well. It gets a lot of show, and it's very inexpensively made. Now, it's more expensive at my shop because I'm super picky about the leather leaf being perfect, every little stem. But it gives you beautiful value. And that color in the middle, we did it on our website in white. It's actually available in the image collection in white, and then it has a whole nother mix to it. And then last but not least is an arrangement that my husband made, because he is the rose person. This is how we do our dozen roses in the shop. So it is beautiful mixed greenery. Beautiful mixed greenery. It is, every arrangement should be made, I'm making the greenery as a standalone arrangement, and then I'm popping the flowers in. And that's where you get a lot of value. For so long, we have greened up our containers in the back, and we have neglected that step altogether. And our trends have changed, and people really want that beautiful mixed greenery, and it should be able to stand alone as an arrangement. The best compliment ever is when you're in your shop and you're making those beautiful mixed greenery arrangements, and the customer says, "Stop. That's what I want right there." I'm like, wait, we need flowers. No flowers. They want that beautiful greenery, because it's natural, it's nature, it's organic, it's free-flowing. So this is how we do our dozen roses. This is obviously more than a dozen roses. A beautiful glass container, accent decor. You need to keep at least of them on a shelf. You never know when someone's gonna come in and say, "I need a $500 arrangement." You never know when someone's gonna say, "How many roses can you fit in a vase?" And then you're limited by what you have in stock. So keeping a couple of those on the shelf, keep your greenery all mixed, and then placing your roses in there gives a show-stopping piece. We have to value our flowers. We have to value our sponsors, value everything that goes in our shop, and more so, value our time. Sell yourself, because there's gonna come a time, and there is a time right now, where we can't get a lot of this stuff. And you have to be able to survive in your businesses by valuing your time. And people look at stuff and they say, "Well, I've only got 3 of this, 4 of that, and it should be this much." I want to ask you, when a lawyer does something for you, what product do you get back in your hand that's tangible? You know what made me stop and realize? When I had to call the AC repairman out. And he's like, "It's $185 for me to come out there." I'm like, "Okay, so that includes fixing?" "No." I'm like, dang, and we're charging $25 an hour. We need to value our time. Because and let me tell you this whole cycle, when we start selling upscale, higher end, more profitable arrangements, you know what that does for our businesses? We get to pay our employees what they're worth too. Because you can't sit here and say nobody wants to work. I am an owner. I own a flower shop. I own businesses. And I can sit there and say, this is expensive and my rent is this and my rent is that. So it's now your fault if you keep selling that cheap. You made that decision. But as the owners, we'll be the first one to say, we can't find anybody to work. And it's going to get harder and harder. Our industry is going to die if we don't find a way to provide for our families. So every single time you feel guilty about charging a little bit more for your time, you say, you know what? I am worth it. And so are my kids' mouths, and so are my employees' mouths, and so is everybody else's time that's in there in that shop. They're relying on you to have the guts to raise those prices and to offer an elevated design. You cannot make a $400 arrangement and put it in the back room and expect for it to sell. If they don't see it on Instagram, they don't see it on your website, you will never sell it. So the next time I'm on the stage, I want to hear everybody, how many purple elephants did you really sell? I thank you so much for coming out here because I know it was a lot, but I really appreciate your time, and more than anything, I really appreciate if you will follow our sponsors, you will visit their websites, and you will even send one of those really old-fashioned handwritten notes about how much you appreciate them. Because sometimes emails get lost, they're not personal, but how beautiful would it be to really, really, truly appreciate them and thank them for in the most devastating time for them to still be able to sponsor a program. Thank you so much.
Rumor has it that there's a new tattoo that's going viral. Let's head inside and see what this we can find out. Tim Farrell. This is the last place I expect to find you.
Hey Kyle, I'm just here getting ready for the 2022 Telefloor program at the AIFD National Convention. So it's in Vegas in 2022 in July. Join us there. Come see the Telefloor design team. It is a program you don't want to miss. Oh man, can somebody get my pulse?
Deep in their roots, all flowers keep the light. Let's not grow with our roots in the ground. Join us in fabulous Vegas, AIFD, with strong roots. Keep the light.
See you in Vegas!
See you in Vegas!
Hello everybody, I am Max van der Sluis, floral designer from Holland. I'm very proud to be one of your presenters on the AIFD Symposium in 2022. I can't wait to meet you all on the symposium in Las Vegas.
Hello everybody, my name is Hanneke Frankema and I'm from Holland, and I'm super excited and super proud to announce that I will be one of the presenters in the symposium of 2022 in Las Vegas. We are working on a great show to show you lots of new ideas, lots of new techniques, and of course with beautiful flowers. I hope to see you all then. Bye bye!